Chapter 91. This secret technique is not that secret technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kato Dan's character inventory ended, and people in Tobirama's office began to leave in groups. Uzumaki Mito pulled little Tsunade and said something while walking. Judging from the way little Tsunade blushed from time to time, Mito, the old Mito, was probably driving. Little Jiraiya also left with Orochimaru. The two of them didn't live in the same place, but little Jiraiya wanted to ask for help. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to handle Kato Dan by himself tomorrow, so he would have to bring Kuchimaru along with him no matter what. The 6 disciples in Feijian also went back to their respective homes to find their respective mothers. After everyone left the Hokage's office, Senju Tobirama began to walk towards the Kato family's location. Because the Kato family was small and the population was not very prosperous, their clan was arranged far away from the center of the village. The location here is not very remote, but there is less traffic, in addition to their Kato clan. There are also some other smaller families who are also arranged here. It can be regarded as a small family gathering place. Has Chief Kato Kakashi taken a rest? That when Senju Tobirama arrived at the gate of the Kato clan, the family ninja responsible for guarding was immediately startled. Everyone in the village knew that their Hokage was a workaholic. In addition to processing documents in the Hokage's office, he usually conducts experiments in the laboratory. He usually doesn't visit other people's homes. Once he does, it must be because of something. But what happened to the second generation that he would come to the Kato clan at this time? This puzzled the guarding Kato ninja. Back to Hokage-sama, Chief Kato should not be resting at this time. Then you go and report it. Just say that I want to see him. Then Hokage-sama, please wait a moment. With a whooshing sound, the guarding ninja started running towards the clan with all his strength. The posture was as if something dangerous was chasing him behind him, running very fast. It was so fast that even Tobirama was a little surprised. This guy is pretty good, he's really a natural janitor. The Kato clan has a small population and a small scale, but the family's residence is quite large. This is also Tobirama's compensation for these small families who have been arranged here. If the location given is not good, then give them more land and let them build a larger clan land anyway. The land here is not very valuable, so if you can sell it to one of these small families, Tobirama will naturally not refuse. At this time, Kato Taka, the leader of the Kato clan, was looking at the secret scroll in the library, a scroll containing Kato's unique secret technique invented by his grandfather. In fact, Kato Taka has been secretly practicing this secret technique for a long time, but he has never succeeded in practicing it. Thinking of his increasingly dissatisfied wife, Kato Taka touched his old waist and secretly determined to practice this secret technique to satisfy his wife Hatano Yua. Looking at the secret formulas written on the scroll, Kato Taka felt that it was really too difficult. His tongue and fingers have become very flexible, but why can't they achieve the desired results? Just when Kato Taka was thinking about Kato Ichitsu, the family ninja responsible for guarding the gate found this place. Clan leader, the Hokage is here to visit and wants to see you. Hearing this, Kato Taka immediately put down the scroll in his hand and walked out of the library, starting to go to the living room. As for Senju Tobirama, of course it's impossible to just stand outside the door and wait. He was led by another ninja and took the lead to the living room. Hokage-sama, I'm late, I'm so sorry. As soon as he entered the door, Kato Taka began to apologize. No matter why Tobirama is looking for him, his attitude must be good enough. Seeing Kato Takashi come in, Tobirama stood up from his seat and said, "It's me who apologizes for delaying Chief Kato's rest time. Hokage-sama is joking, I wouldn't go to bed so early." After chatting for a while, the two began to sit down. "Lord Irano Hokage, are you looking for me for something?" Kato Taka didn't beat around the bush, not because he was straightforward, but because he wanted to go back and continue studying Kato's finger. After all, my waist is tight, as the saying goes, 30 is like a wolf, 40 is like a tiger, and 50 can absorb dirt while sitting on the ground. Hatano Yua is a few years younger than Kato Taka, and is now in his 40s. If a woman of this age cannot satisfy her, Kato Takashi is afraid that he will wear a green hat. Therefore, he really couldn't waste even a quarter of an hour. It's not a big deal. It's just that I accidentally heard that the Kato clan has a very powerful secret technique. I want to see it. I wonder if the Kato clan chief can satisfy my curiosity. Hokage-sama, do you even know about this? Hearing that Tobirama wanted to see his family's secret technique, Kato Takashi's expression suddenly became very strange. Could it be that Chief Kato is in trouble? Tobirama also knew that his request was somewhat presumptuous, if you think about it from his perspective. When others find him and want to see the Flying Thunder God technique, Earth reincarnation and other forbidden techniques, he will also feel a little embarrassed. However, in order to complete his plan, he must see the art of spiritual transformation. It's not that there's any difficulty. It's just that my grandfather knows this trick, and he has been dead for many years. If Hokage-sama wants to see it, he can only read the training scroll. Isn't this good? I mean, I don't mind reading the training scrolls. Originally, Tobirama's original intention was to experience the art of spiritual transformation for himself, so as to reversely deduce the method of practicing the art of spiritual transformation. He had never thought about watching the cultivation scroll, for no reason. Why should others let him see the training scroll of the family's secret technique, just because he is Hokage? Well, if he uses his identity as Hokage to force Kato Taka, he should be able to see the training scroll, but this way, there is a gap between him and the Kato family. For the sake of the harmony of the village, if possible, we should not use force. At least, he would not consider using his identity as Hokage to suppress him until he could no longer deduce the cultivation method. Even he didn't expect that Kato Taka would be so knowledgeable. Without saying a word, I showed him the cultivation scroll. How embarrassing is this? Hokage-sama, wait a moment, I'll be back as soon as I can. As soon as he finished speaking, Kato Taka ran out with a whoosh. After taking out the scroll from the library in a very short time, he returned to the living room with a whoosh. Hokage-sama, is this the training scroll that records the secret technique of our Kato clan, Kato's one finger? Kato one finger. Hearing this, Tobirama subconsciously felt that something was wrong, but everyone else had already brought it, so he didn't ask any questions. He took it, opened the scroll, and started reading. The oral skills are as good as a dog drinking water, and the fingering skills are as nimble as a devil. What the hell is this all about? At this moment, Tobirama somewhat thought that Kato Taka was playing tricks on him, but seeing the other person standing openly in front of him, it didn't look like he was playing tricks on him. Chief Kato, are you making a mistake? Made a mistake? What does this mean? Hokage-sama, please clarify. Kato Taka's face was full of astonishment, and he didn't understand Tobirama's meaning at all. I mean, what I want to see is not Kato's one finger, but the art of spiritual transformation. Spiritual transformation technique? I didn't create it. Do we, the Kato clan, still have this technique? Seeing Kato Taka's confused look, Tobirama covered his face in embarrassment. He really made a big mistake. Seeing Kato-dan using the spiritualization technique from the light screen, he subconsciously thought that this technique was the secret technique of the Kato clan. The Kato clan did have a secret technique, but it was not the secret technique he wanted. In this case, let's ask the person involved. Clan Chief Kato, please help me call a person named Kato-dan to come over. Kato-dan? I'll have someone find him right away. Chapter 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kato-dan is considered the strongest among the younger generation of the Kato clan. He is quite famous and is a true genius in the family. Kato-dan, the clan leader is looking for you and wants you to go to the living room. At this time, Kato-danya was not sleeping. He had just taken a bath, which relieved some of the fatigue caused by practice. Okay, please wait a moment. After sorting out his clothes, Kato-dan spoke to his mother, Kato Megumi, and then followed the ninja who came to see him to the living room. On the way, Kato-dan asked with some confusion, Lei, did the clan leader tell me who wants to see me? The ninja named Kato Lei heard this and immediately replied, the clan leader didn't tell me, but in addition to the clan leader, there is also Hokage-sama in the living room. In other words, Hokage-sama wants to see me? Should be. Kato Swan frowned subconsciously. He didn't understand. He was just a little chunin, and he didn't have much interaction with the Hokage. Why did the Hokage want to see him? With such questions, Kado Dan quickly came to the living room and met the Kado clan leader and the second Hokage Senju Tobirama. Jan, I have met Lord Hokage, Lord Clan Leader. Don't be so polite. Sit down and talk first. Thank you, Hokage-sama. The three of them sat down, and Kado Dan immediately asked, I wonder if the Patriarch and the Hokage are looking for me for something. Kado Taka did not reply, but looked at Senju Tobirama and signaled to Swan that the Hokage was looking for him, not himself. I do have something to do with you. I want to see the training scroll for the art of spiritual transformation. I wonder if you agree. The difference in influence between personal secrets and family secrets is not a small one. After knowing that the art of spiritual transformation was not a family secret of the Kado clan, Tobirama became much more fluent in doing things. He had to read the training scrolls as soon as he started. This surprised and embarrassed Kado Dan. He was surprised because he had just successfully practiced this spiritual transformation technique not long ago, and it was a secret technique created by himself. The embarrassment is easy to understand. No one wants to hand over the secret technique that they have finally created to others, not even if this person is Hokage. Fortunately, Kado Danya is not a stubborn person. He knew that his arms could not twist Naruto's thigh. He nodded slowly and said, I'll bring the scroll right away. I'm not looking at your scroll for nothing. Tomorrow you come to the Hokage's office and choose a technique to learn from the Book of Sealings. Consider it an exchange. The sealed book is a forbidden book that Senju Tobirama created when he first became Hokage. It records ninjutsu that can cause great harm or even death to the user, also called forbidden jutsu. Kado Dan knew about this forbidden book and that it contained forbidden techniques that were powerful but had serious side effects. Don't be afraid of side effects, as long as it's powerful enough. The profession of ninja is inherently precarious. No one knows whether he will die in the next mission. Therefore, they will grab anything that can make them stronger. Kado Dan is naturally no exception. In his opinion, exchanging the spiritual technique for a forbidden technique in a sealed book was a huge profit. Using one who knows how to exchange for one who doesn't know how to do it is enough to achieve the effect of 1 + 1 being equal to or greater than 2. Just when Kado Dan went home happily to get the scroll, Kado Taka suddenly said to Tobirama, Lord Hokage, can I, Kado, change the secret technique in the Book of Sealing with just one finger? I'm afraid this won't work. Senju Tobirama was very speechless. Other people's secret techniques are either to increase one's own combat effectiveness, such as the Akimichi clan's doubling technique, or it is to assist teammates in fighting, such as the heart-changing technique of the Yamanaka clan. It's like the Kado clan's secret technique is just a joke. Can this crap thing enhance my own strength? Can you assist teammates in fighting? Can you control the enemy and achieve the effect of field control? No, not at all. If it were Jiraiya the 5th generation, maybe Kado Taka would still have a chance. Unless Senju Tobirama is crazy, he will never trade the forbidden technique in the Book of Sealings for the bullshit Kado finger. Okay, I'm overthinking it. Feeling disappointed, Kado Taka sighed and sat on the chair so lonely. Tobirama ignored him. No one who can be the head of a family is simple. Even though Kado Taka looks so lonely, Tobirama bets that this guy is 100% faking it. It would be best if he could arouse the Hokage's sympathy and agree to his request. If he fails to achieve his goal, he will not be depressed. It doesn't cost any money anyway, so let's give it a try. What if it succeeds? Unfortunately, Tobirama is very determined and cannot be deceived by this little trick. Hokage-sama, clan leader, I'm back. Soon, Kado Dan returned to the living room with the scroll. When he saw Kado Takashi, he couldn't help but asked with some confusion, Master Patriarch, what are you doing? Kado Takashi waved his hand and replied, my uncle is here. It's okay. You don't need to worry about me. Kado Dan. Uncle-in-law. WTF. Why does the Patriarch act like he has lost his family when his uncle comes? Glancing at Kado Taka, who was still acting, Tobirama followed his words and said, don't worry about him, just think he's having his period. Huh. Men also have menstruation. Looking at the clan leader, Kado Dan opened his mouth wide and his eyes widened, with an expression of a shattered outlook on life. Yes, men feel uncomfortable for a few days every month. You don't know, it's because you are not married yet. Kato Takashi did not refute Tobirama's words. Instead, he patted Kato Swan's shoulder and continued with a serious tone, after you get married, you must exercise moderation, otherwise you will not only feel uncomfortable, but also your waist will hurt. My waist hurts so much, even if he is not married, he still knows that Kato Taka suffers from kidney deficiency, which is closely related to menstruation. Cut it off and follow the teachings carefully. Without too much nonsense with the clan leader, Dan handed the scroll to Tobirama after finishing speaking. Tobirama was not polite, picked up the scroll and left. He wants to go home and watch it slowly. Don't forget to come to my office tomorrow. Hokage-sama, walk slowly, I won't forget. Early the next morning, Kato Dan started heading to the Hokage's office building with great anticipation. If nothing else, there will be an accident. When he was about to reach the Hokage's office building, two masked guys suddenly came out of the alley nearby. One has black hair and one has white hair. Kato Dan recognized the two of them at a glance. This guy with black hair is really easy to identify, with fair skin and snake eyes. Isn't this the disciple of Hiruzen Sarutobi, Orochimaru? Now that Orochimaru's identity is known, the white-haired one can be confirmed. Who else but Jiraiya? Just when Kato Dan confirmed the identities of the two people, little Jiraiya opposite him raised his head and pointed at him and asked in a very arrogant tone. You're the one calling Kato Dan? Chapter 93 Jiraiya. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Maybe little Jiraiya and Kuchimaru themselves don't know that they are actually quite famous in Konoha village. Little Jiraiya was also known as a pervert. He would run to the women's bathhouse whenever he had something to do, and he was caught several times. If it weren't for the fact that his teacher was Sarutobi Hiruzen, he would probably have been fucked to death by those angry young and old women. Orochimaru is different. He is famous for his outstanding appearance and white skin. With a little grooming, he is definitely a beauty. Therefore, when the two of them stood in front of Kato Dan with their faces covered, they were recognized at a glance. Jiraiya, Orochimaru, what do you two want from me? Kato Dan knew that the two came with bad intentions, but his good tutoring still allowed him to ask questions calmly. I'm not Jiraiya, you got the wrong person. Orochimaru, don't you think so? Orochimaru covered his face and sighed. If he really couldn't stand little Jiraiya's persistent pursuit, he wouldn't have come at all. Idiot, you exposed my name. Huh. It seems so. How about we dress up again and come back to trouble him in the afternoon? Little Jiraiya shook his head and looked at Kuchimaru a little embarrassed. Could you be any stupider? After giving little Jiraiya a hard look, Orochimaru simply took off his mask, revealing his true appearance. Take off the mask. Your identity has been exposed. Is there any point in covering it? Right. Little Jiraiya followed suit and took off his mask. So, can you tell me now, what do you want from me? Hearing Kato Dan's question again, little Jiraiya laughed and said, It's nothing, we just want to beat you up, or be beaten up by you. It was Jiraiya who wanted to hit you, but I was just pulled over by him. Hearing this, little Jiraiya seemed to have been betrayed, and looked at Kuchimaru in shock. Orochimaru, how could you do this? Kuchimaru ignored little Jiraiya, but Kato raised his eyebrows and asked, Jiraiya, are you serious? Kato Dan couldn't understand. He and little Jiraiya had no grudges these days and they had no grudges in the past. Why would he hit him? Is he jealous of his handsomeness? It's not his fault that he's handsome. Kato Dan, do you know what mistake you made? After confirming that Kuchimaru didn't want to talk to him, Jiraiya immediately pointed his gun at Kato Dan. Oh. To be honest, I really don't know where I went wrong. That's what you're wrong about. Before he finished speaking, little Jiraiya launched a sneak attack without respecting martial ethics. Little Jiraiya's plan was perfect. They were already close to each other, and he used words to attract Kato Dan, and then immediately launched a sneak attack. Kato Dan didn't expect little Jiraiya to be so insidious, and launched an attack on him before he even finished speaking. For a moment, he hurriedly started to parry. Little Jiraiya's strength at this time was actually not very strong. In a real fight, Jiraiya's winning rate against Kato Dan is only about 40-60, but at this time, he took the lead with a sneak attack, which made it difficult for Kato Dan to deal with it. as the saying goes, strike first and be controlled by others later. After guarding for a long time, Kado Dan still failed to defend perfectly, and little Jiraiya seized the opportunity and punched him hard in the face. Well. Covering his face, Kado looked at Kochimaru with fear. Little Jiraiya alone was not afraid. If the other party hadn't attacked first and gained the upper hand, there's no telling who was being beaten. It would be bad if Orochimaru joined in. Although Orochimaru said before that he was forcefully pulled over by Jiraiya, didn't he say that he couldn't help? Adhering to the idea that a good man should not suffer the immediate consequences, Kado Dan could only endure it. Can I leave now? No, I haven't yet. Okay Jiraiya, that's almost it. It was obvious that little Jiraiya didn't want to let Kado Dan go just like that. We agreed to give him a good beating, so how could he be satisfied with just one punch? Fortunately, there was Kochimaru beside him. He persuaded little Jiraiya and ended the farce. Kado Dan, please go first. After taking a deep look at little Jiraiya, Kado Dan nodded to Kochimaru again and left the place. Orochimaru, how could you let him go so easily? Otherwise? Do you still want to continue beating him? After the short battle just now, I feel that his strength is not inferior to yours. Having said this, Kochimaru glanced at the big tree on the right side of the road, and continued, if you two continue to fight, you will definitely get real fire. If you don't hold back, you will use ninjutsu. Then it's a big deal. Why is this so big? Isn't it normal for two people to use ninjutsu in a fight? Idiot, don't look where we are. This is in a village, not a training ground. After looking at the surrounding houses and the sparse pedestrians passing by, little Jiraiya said that Orochimaru was right. If he really used ninjutsu here, he would definitely be taught a lesson by Hiruzen Sarutobi. Okay, let's let him go for now. We will have a long time ahead. After saying that, the two of them left. Little Jiraiya was going to cram in and practice his taijutsu. Orochimaru is going to Tobirama's laboratory to study. After the two left, a familiar figure emerged from the big tree that Kochimaru glanced at. As expected of my disciple, his perception is so keen. The person coming was none other than Sarutobi Hiruzen. In comparison, Jiraiya, can he really be called the Sannin together with Orochimaru and Tsunade in the future? Among his three disciples, the one who gave him the most headache was Jiraiya. Tsunade is a member of the Senju clan. When Senju Tobirama was still alive, she had no shortage of resources at all. If she wanted to learn anything, she could go home and ask her second grandfather, or look for Uzumaki Mido. There was no need at all. He worries. As for Orochimaru, he is undoubtedly a genius. As long as he is taught ninjutsu, he can quickly learn it, and he is also calm and good at thinking. Now that he is studying with teacher Tobirama, he does not need to interfere. In comparison, Jiraiya, who was born as a commoner, was very average. He has average talent, average resources, and a very impulsive and lustful personality, which gives him the biggest headache. Even if there were spoilers about the light screen, he really couldn't figure out how Jiraiya could become one of the Sannin. In his opinion, unless something more important happens in the future, Jiraiya's upper limit is just an ordinary jounin. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart moved. If there is any difference between Jiraiya in the future and Jiraiya now, it is that Jiraiya now has not been to Mt. Miaboku. How about teaching Jiraiya the psychic technique later? After becoming the daimyo's bodyguard, he really didn't have much time to teach Jiraiya. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he taught Jiraiya the psychic technique and asked him to go to Mt. Miaomu as his original destiny. In this way, even if he didn't have much time, someone, Frog, would teach him. It's better to discuss this matter with the teacher. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that teacher Tobirama was very dissatisfied with the great toad sage for treating Jiraiya as a tool to find the son of destiny. If he had asked Jiraiya to go to Mt. Miaboku without consulting Tobirama-sensei, he would probably have had no good results afterwards. Chapter 94 The Art of Stone and Spirituality. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tobirama didn't know what happened between Kado Dan and little Jiraiya, but even if he knew, he probably wouldn't think anything of it. It's normal for children to fight. That's why he didn't ask much when he saw a bruise on Kado Dan's face. Choose one from here to learn. Yes, Hokage. Unfolding the sealed book, the various forbidden techniques listed on it amazed Kato Dan. Especially when he saw the impure world reincarnation, a forbidden technique that can revive the dead, he couldn't help but sigh again that the second-generation Hokage was really strong in creating techniques. The forbidden techniques in the sealed book were strong and weak, and Kato Dan was simply overwhelmed. Looking at this one, he wanted to learn that one too. He couldn't help but get into a dilemma because he could only learn one of so many forbidden techniques. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen came to the Hokage's office. Hiruzen, you haven't set out for the Fire City today. I was delayed a little by something. After saying that, he pouted at Kato Dan. Senju Tobirama understood immediately. He may not mind the fight between two kids, but Sarutobi Hiruzen, as a genuine teacher, has to mind it. You know it in your heart, so what are you looking for now? I want Jiraiya to learn the summoning technique. Hearing this, Kato Dan, who was looking at the seal scroll in the corner, immediately pricked up his ears. The strength comparison between him and little Jiraiya was originally on par. Maybe he was stronger, but not much stronger. If Jiraiya learned the summoning technique and strengthened his own strength, then when would he be able to avenge that punch? Summoning technique. Have you found the location of Mount Miaomu? Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head. No. Then what's the point of letting Jiraiya learn the summoning technique? Do you want him to contract the Sarutobi clan's Sarutobi demon? I'm afraid that won't work. The Sarutobi demon is a very powerful summoning beast. It can be seen from the Konoha collapse plan period when Orochimaru fought against the old third generation. This kind of summoned beast can not only help the contractor in its original state, but also strengthen the contractor's physical attack by transforming into a golden hoop. However, the contractors of the Sarutobi summoned beast have always been people of the Sarutobi clan. Outsiders cannot become contractors at all, even if Sarutobi Hiruzen's clan leader father agrees. The Sarutobi demons will not agree. Without the summoned beast, the meaning of this technique is not very big. Tell me what you think. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not say it directly this time, but glanced at Kato Dan and signaled to Tobirama whether to let this guy go out first. Tobirama shook his head and told Hiruzen not to worry about him, because he didn't understand anyway. This is what I think. It doesn't explain in detail how Jiraiya contracted the toad of Miaomu Mountain. Since he doesn't know, I might as well teach him the summoning technique first and let him find Miaomu Mountain by himself. If he can find it, it would be the best. If he can't find it, there is actually no loss. Hiruzen's words are very reasonable, and Tobirama has nothing to object to, but just as Hiruzen had thought before, Tobirama was very unhappy with the big toad sage. Why do you, a big toad, interfere in human affairs? Fortunately, they have been able to confirm that the child of destiny is Uzumaki Naruto. Even if the big toad still wants to use Jiraiya as a tool, they can correct it in time. Okay, let's do it according to your idea. Yes, teacher. Sarutobi Hiruzen left. He had to hurry up to teach little Jiraiya the art of summoning. After teaching him, he would go to the Fire City at full speed. Dan, have you made your choice? To answer Lord Hokage, I have made my choice. Holding the scroll, Kato Dan came to Tobirama, pointed to a forbidden technique on it, and said, I choose this, the rock and rock technique. The rock and rock technique? Sure, you can copy a copy now, and then go home and practice slowly. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me, but remember, you can't reveal this technique to others without my permission. Yes, Lord Hokage. By the way, can you tell me why you chose the rock and rock technique? Nodding, Tobirama was very satisfied with Kato Dan's attitude. At the same time, he was a little curious why Kato Dan didn't choose to learn other offensive techniques, but chose such a defensive technique instead. That's right, Lord Hokage also knows that when I perform the spiritualization technique, my soul will leave my body. In the absence of teammates, the protection of my body will be a big problem. So, you chose this defensive technique? Yes, compared to other techniques, the stone rock technique can only be used for defense, and the side effects are still large, but it is the most suitable for me. The side effects of the stone rock technique are indeed very large. When performing this technique, the caster's entire body will be covered with a very hard rock and cannot move. In other words, using this technique means that you will become a living target. In addition, during the performance of this technique, the caster's thinking will gradually slow down, and eventually become a real piece of stone. This is why Kado Dan's technique is suitable for him. His soul has left his body, so he is naturally not affected by the side effects of slowing down his thinking, and a layer of rock covering his body can also play a concealing effect. Paired with his spiritual transformation technique, it can be said to be a match made in heaven. As long as he learns the art of Shurien, he can greatly enhance his own safety. From then on, my mother no longer had to worry that he would die suddenly on the battlefield. After leaving Tobirama's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly found little Jiraiya kicking a wooden stake at a training ground. "Jiraiya, come here." "Teacher, why are you here?" Little Jiraiya saw that Sarutobi Hiruzen was confused. At this point in time, shouldn't the teacher already be on his way to the Fire City? "Jiraiya, the teacher has neglected your teachings during this time because he wanted to protect the safety of the daimyo. You shouldn't blame the teacher, right?" Little Jiraiya spared his head and replied with a silly smile, "How come, didn't the teacher entrust me and Orochimaru to Hokage-sama? Hokage-sama is quite responsible. If I have any questions, I will go to Hokage-sama. Hokage-sama, they all answer my questions in detail. As long as you don't blame me, then, as compensation for my absence during these days, I decided to teach you a very powerful ninjutsu." "Yeah." Little Jiraiya's eyes sparkled, looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen with anticipation. "Of course, how could the teacher lie to you?" After saying that, Sarutobi Hiruzen took out a small scroll for practicing psychic arts and handed it to little Jiraiya, and said, "The ninjutsu I want to teach you is the psychic technique." "Oh, so it's the art of channeling. As long as I learn this, can I channel the teacher's monkey demon?" Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled awkwardly and said, "Don't think about it, monkey demon. You should go find other psychic beasts. That's it." Hearing that he could not channel the ape demon, little Jiraiya felt a little disappointed, but he soon cheered up. "Teacher, please teach me quickly." "Okay, I will demonstrate to you now. The order of seal formation of the psychic technique is, Haisuyushin Wei." After showing little Jiraiya the order of the seals, Sarutobi Hiruzen continued, "When you find a psychic beast that can be contracted, you can use the psychic technique. Before you can contract a psychic beast, you can but don't." "Jiraiya, what the hell are you doing?" In fact, little Jiraiya didn't even listen to what Sarutobi Hiruzen was saying. After seeing the order of the seals, he immediately began to mobilize chakra, and at the same time, he also formed the seals of psychic skills on his hands. When little Jiraiya completed the seal, he imitated the way Hiruzen had summoned the monkey demon and slapped the ground hard. There was a bang, and little Jiraiya disappeared in an instant under the nose of Sarutobi Hiruzen. "Hiruzen, what's going on, eh? Disciple like me?" Chapter 93 was reviewed. I really vomited. Chapter 95 Miaomu Mountain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that his disciple was sometimes unreliable, but he didn't expect that little Jiraiya would be so unreliable. Before signing a contract with the psychic beast, there will only be two results if you use psychic techniques rashly. The first type is that the space turbulence is broken into pieces, the second is to randomly reach any place in the ninja world. It may be a safe land or a dangerous ocean. No matter how lucky you are, you may not be able to directly reach a gathering place of psychic beasts. To put it bluntly, the art of channeling is a kind of summoning art that uses space. If you have your own psychic beast, using the user as a beacon, the psychic beast can instantly reach the location of the caster. The same principle applies to counter-spiritualism. Just now, little Jiraiya used the psychic technique in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen without a contracted psychic beast, which was a very dangerous thing, but things had happened, and Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't dwell too much on it. He could only pray that little Jiraiya would have better luck and not die so easily. Speaking of which, could it be that Jiraiya became a contractor of Mt. Miyaboku just by accident? The more he thought about it, the more Sarutobi Hiruzen thought it was possible. After standing there and waiting for a long time, Hiruzen did not wait for little Jiraiya to come back. so he could only shake his head and start heading to the Hokage's office. What happened here must be told to Senju Tobirama. Little Jiraiya did indeed come to Miaomu by accident, just as Sarutobi Hiruzen thought. When he was randomly teleported here by the psychic technique, looking at the huge leaves beside him and the scenery that was completely different from the ninja world, little Jiraiya didn't panic at all, but was actually very excited. I am really lucky. How could little Jiraiya not be aware of the disadvantages of psychic techniques? Recently, little Tsunade and Orochimaru have put more and more pressure on him. If he doesn't give it a try, how can he have the nerve to call them both Sannin when he grows up? The light screen said that he would be the contractor of Miaomu Mountain in the future, but at this time, he didn't even have any information about Miaomu Mountain. How could he find it? It's better to rely on the disadvantages of psychic techniques and take a good gamble. If it's done, everyone will be happy. If it doesn't work, it will be nothing more than death. Now it seems that he should have succeeded. Is this a human? No human has been here for a long time. In the bushes not far from little Jiraiya, a huge toad first spotted him. Unlike the poisonous snakes in Ryuchi Cave, which can kill people, the toads in Miaomu Mountain do not have any ill intentions towards humans. After all, they do not eat humans. The arrival of humans may be a good thing for them. At least, with the contractor, they can go to the outside world from time to time. Of course, all this requires the person in front of you to pass the test. Their considerations won't cost lives, but the difficulty is definitely not small. Hey, human. Just when Toad Buntai was about to ask little Jiraiya, two old toads named Fukasaku and Shima jumped up to little Jiraiya. The child's father is the one the great Toad Immortal is looking for, right? He is the only one here, so he must be the one. Hey human child, come with us, the great Toad Immortal wants to see you. Little Jiraiya pointed at himself and asked confusedly, is it me? Fukasaku and Shima nodded and replied, that's right. It's not easy for that old Toad Immortal to wake up once. You'd better come with us quickly. Oh well. Little Jiraiya, who was new to Miaomu, didn't understand anything and could only follow the two old toads. By the way, my name is Fukasaku, she is my wife's name. Shima, human child, what is your name? On the way, two toads introduced themselves to little Jiraiya. They knew that if nothing unexpected happened, the human child in front of them should be the contractor of Miaomu Mountain this time. My name is Jiraiya, and I am already 13 years old, so I am no longer a child. We are both hundreds of years old. Is it okay to call you a kid? Hearing that the two toads were so old, what else could little Jiraiya say? I could only smile and accept the title. By the way, the great Toad Immortal you are talking about, why does he want to see me? How do I know this? Maybe he is old and confused. Honey, don't be rude to the great Toad Immortal. That's right. He only eats and sleeps every day. He doesn't wake up for a short time and often talks nonsense. He's just confused. Fukasaku looked at Shima helplessly and said, just talk behind his back, but don't say that in front of him. I'm just complaining, I'm not an idiot. Okay, my wife is the smartest. You know what's going on. Little Jiraiya? No, he just ate a mouthful of Tsunade and Kato Dan's dog food from the light screen yesterday, and now he has to eat the dog food of two toads when he comes to Miaomu Mountain. As for Kato Dan, he can also ask Orochimaru to teach him a lesson, what to do here. These two toads have lived hundreds of years, and he will definitely not be able to defeat them. Damn, singles don't have human rights. Is there anyone here to take care of it? Fortunately, this situation did not last long, and soon Fukasaku and Shima brought little Jiraiya to the great toad sage. I saw the great Toad Immortal slumped on a huge seat. His whole body was orange, with yellow eyes. He had a string of Buddhist beads around his neck, with a lavender cat's eye stone in the middle, and the word oil written on it. Wearing a doctor's hat on his head and looking very old. The great Toad Immortal was still awake at this time. When he saw his two guards arriving with a human child, he asked. Who's coming? Under the seat, Fukasaku first complained in a low voice, is it interesting to play this trick every time? Then he replied, Big Toad Immortal, didn't you predict 100 years ago that a human child would come to Miaomu Mountain? Shima and I brought this child today. Really? Why don't I remember, that when Fukasaku and Shima heard this, their faces suddenly filled with black lines. The two toads looked at each other and conveyed the message with their eyes. Shima, let me just say that this old toad is confused. You still don't believe me? Fukasaku, what's the point of believing in me? He's the biggest one in Miaomu Mountain if he's confused. Oh ho ho ho, you are just kidding, Fukasaku. Shima, you are not humorous at all. After saying something with a smile, the big toad sage ignored the two toads with unhappy expressions, looked at little Jiraiya and asked, you seem to have arrived a little earlier than I predicted, but it doesn't matter. Just come. This great toad immortal, what can I do? Sign this psychic contract. From now on, you will be my contractor in Miaomu Mountain. After saying that, the great toad sage opened his mouth and placed the contract scroll tied with his tongue in front of little Jiraiya. Little Jiraiya was very excited. Isn't that the purpose of coming here? Not dissatisfied with the saliva on it, he opened the scroll directly, took the brush from Fukasaku Toad, and wrote his name at the end of the scroll. Here, I've written it. After writing the name, little Jiraiya closed the scroll and put it back on the tongue of the great toad sage. Okay, you guys go down first, I'm going to sleep. Yes, great toad immortal. Big Toad Immortal, ZZZZZZ. Chapter 96 Zetsu, Obito, guess what I saw in Konoha? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, I know. In the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen had already told Senju Tobirama what had just happened. Tobirama's attitude was very calm, and he just nodded slightly to show that he understood. If you're okay, just leave for the Fire City. Okay teacher, I'll leave right away. Not long after Sarutobi Hiruzen left, Senju Tobirama finished reviewing the documents, left the office, and started heading to the laboratory. Experiments on cloning various animals have almost been carried out, and it is time to conduct experiments on human cloning. He also has a candidate for the first person to be cloned, and that is Noera Lin. As a ninja, Noera Rin is not very strong. But she is the best choice for the first clone candidate. Anyway, we have to pay attention to the step-by-step process. Only after successfully cloning this uncharacteristic ninja, Tobirama will try to clone his elder brother. After all, the problem of Hashirama's cells is a bit difficult, and he needs to accumulate more experience in cloning human bodies. Black Zetsu, who had been lurking in Konoha for a long time, felt that the Hokage's office was empty. It didn't need to think about it to know that Tobirama must have entered the building built at the foot of the mountain. As far as it knew, that building was where Senju Tobirama conducted experiments. It really wanted to go in and investigate, but unfortunately, this building was shrouded in a four-purple flame formation 24 hours a day, so it had no chance to go in. As for Tobirama, the Flying Thunder God swooped in without having to pass through the four-purple flame formation. In addition to this laboratory, it also wants to sneak into the Hokage's office, but whenever it has this thought, it always feels an inexplicable danger. It's like it's going to die as soon as it goes in. It will never enter the Hokage's office until it is discovered where this danger comes from. At most, he just lurks outside the door and senses the situation inside, but this perception is not omnipotent. At least, he didn't know what happened inside at 8 o'clock last night. It just saw many people entering the Hokage's office and sensed the emotions of some people inside, but it didn't know what happened inside. It's been almost a month since I came to Konoha. It's time to go back and report to Madara. After all, I am just his will, and I have to act according to his orders. Mountain Pasture. Uchiha Madara was still the same, sitting quietly in his seat. The tube behind him would squirm from time to time, transporting him some life-sustaining substances. Ju, have you found out anything? That the moment Black Zetsu came back, Madara knew. Of course, this was Ju's intention, otherwise even ban with the samsara I wouldn't be able to easily spot him. I found some strange places. Oh. Tell me. Black Zetsu came to Madara's side and said softly, I discovered that Senju Tobirama summons some people to his office at 8 o'clock in the evening every half-month. I don't know what they are doing in there. Don't you even know? Uchiha Madara is aware of Black Zetsu's hidden ability. It didn't even know what Tobirama and the others were doing in the office, so it made him curious. Yeah, I had a feeling that if I went into that office, maybe I would die. Is that so? Yes. Out of curiosity, Madara didn't want him to die so early for such a capable assistant. Besides this, did you find anything else? There is a laboratory in the Thousand Hands Gate. This laboratory is shrouded in a purple flame formation 24 hours a day. I think I will definitely be discovered if I sneak in. So you didn't go in? Yes. Well, your approach is right. At this stage, we still have to focus on lurking. We have to wait until we find my successor. Thinking of the successor, Uchiha Madara asked again, have you found a suitable candidate in Uchiha? Madara-sama, you know, as you said, you must have a kind character, love life, and preferably also like to help others. Is there really such an Uchiha? Uchiha Madara also knew that the conditions he gave were very harsh, but if this is not the case, it will not be easy to stimulate the other party to open up a kaleidoscope, as his successor. Is it ridiculous to not have a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan? Look for it slowly, I won't die so early. By the way, Madara-sama, when I was in Konoha, I also discovered that the Uchiha side seemed to have suffered a wave of purges, and many people died. Cleaning. It was probably the evil guy Tobirama who did it. He always disliked Uchiha. If Hashirama hadn't protected him back then, I would have killed him long ago to avenge my brother Izuna. Huh, second generation Naruto? Bah. Madara-sama, do you think it was Senju Tobirama? But why did I find out that it was Uchiha Kagami who did it? Uchiha Madara. Absolutely. What's wrong, Madara-sama? If you have anything to say in the future, you can finish it directly. Don't leave any part of it for me. Okay, Madara-sama. Black Zetsu on Tobirama's side was reporting to Madara. Black Zetsu on the third Hokage's side was also reporting on his work. It's just that the person being reported to by Black Zetsu here is the masked man Obito. Madara, the white Zetsu I sent to Konoha are missing. They haven't contacted me for a month. Have you found out the reason? No. After hearing Black Zetsu's answer, Obito couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Last month, Pain asked Black Zetsu to go to Konoha to investigate Danzo, and Obito knew about it. In his opinion, with White Zetsu, it shouldn't take long to figure things out. Is there anyone in Konoha who can see through the spore technique? There's absolutely no way. But now it seems that his understanding is a bit hasty. All I can say is that Konoha is worthy of being the ninja village where he was born, and there are still some talents in it. Zetsu, you should go to Konoha in person. Madara, there's no need for me to go. I can just find some information to fool Pain, right? Obito shook his head and said, Pain is just a side job. Your main task is to investigate the matter of White Zetsu to see if he was killed by Konoha's people or captured. If he was killed, it doesn't matter. If he was captured, you should either find a way to save them or kill them to silence them. I don't want Konoha's people to know our plan, even if it's just part of it. Okay, I got it. After saying that, Black Zetsu dived directly into the ground and disappeared. Rin, wait for me. Soon I will be able to create a world with you. Looking at the sunset on the horizon, Obito recalled the bits and pieces of his time with Lin. As for a certain white-haired masked man, he ignored him directly. Black Zetsu was very efficient. It took only 5 days for it to return to the base and find Obito. Obito, you don't know what I saw in Konoha. Under normal circumstances, Black Zetsu would not call Obito by his real name, but would call him Madara. Now that it calls Obito by his real name, it is conceivable that it must have seen something extraordinary in Konoha. Call me Madara, and what did you see that surprised you so much? I saw the second Hokage, Senju Tobirama. Obito? Chapter 97 Obito, Zetsu, are you kidding me? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Do you want to hear what you are saying? The second Hokage, Senju Tobirama? I don't know how many years he has been dead. Now you tell me that you saw him in Konoha. Do you think I will believe it? Obito was a little excited when he heard the news about Black Zetsu. He knew that there were some forbidden techniques in the ninja world that could revive people. Apart from other things, the Samsara Eye Samsara reincarnation technique is a technique that can perfectly revive the dead. Madara's original plan was to use the host of the Samsara Eye to revive him with the Samsara reincarnation technique, but Obito had other ideas. He didn't want to revive Madara just like that. In addition to the Samsara reincarnation technique, impure world reincarnation can also revive the dead, but this kind of resurrection is not a real resurrection. There is no sense of smell, no sense of taste, and even the sense of touch is very rare, and the impure world reincarnation people will be controlled by the caster, so, rather than a resurrection technique, it is better to say that it is a summoning technique to summon the dead. These two are the techniques that Obito knows that can revive the dead. Black Zetsu said that it saw Tobirama Senju in Konoha. Does that mean that Konoha already has a real resurrection technique? Rather than something like impure world reincarnation, if it is really as Obito thought, then his subsequent plans will definitely be disturbed by Konoha. This time it was Tobirama Senju who was resurrected, so will it be Hashirama Senju who will be resurrected next time? In the ninja world without Uchiha Madara, who else can resist Hashirama Senju? Relying on Nagato, who has a pair of Madara's Samsara eyes. Shaked his head. Obito doesn't think that Nagato, who can't even fully exert the power of the Samsara eyes, can compete with this ninja god. Zay, come with me to Konoha, I want to see what the hell they are doing. Obito will never allow anyone to disrupt the situation, even if this is Konoha where he was born and raised. For his own purpose. Didn't he destroy his teacher, his mistress, and his family back then? So what does it matter if he starts a riot in Konoha again? As long as Black Zetsu's situation is true, he doesn't mind assassinating Uzumaki Naruto and starting another Nine-Tails rebellion. On the road to Konoha, Obito couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Don't worry, your sacrifice will not be in vain. As long as my plan succeeds, everyone can have a bright future." Obito and Black Zetsu were moving at full speed, and their speed was very fast. It only took 1 day and 1 night to get from the Hidden Rain village to the Konoha village. At such a fast speed, even Obito, who was implanted with Hashirama's cells, needed to slow down. "Zay, take me to the place where you saw Tobirama Senju." After a long while, as soon as Obito recovered, he couldn't wait to see the second-generation Hokage. "Okay, follow me." The place where Black Zetsu saw the second-generation Hokage was actually downstairs in the Hokage building. Black Zetsu didn't dare to go into the Hokage's office, so he could only wander around the Hokage building. It happened to see Tobirama Senju walking towards the Hokage building while talking to the fifth-generation Jiraiya. When he saw Senju Tobirama, Black Zetsu had a face full of question marks. He knew clearly that the second Hokage of Konoha was dead, wasn't he? Why would he still appear in Konoha? Looking at his face, he didn't look like he was resurrected through the impure world reincarnation. This puzzled Black Zetsu. He really wanted to know if there was any secret in it, but he couldn't enter the Hokage's office, so he had to quickly return to the Hidden Rain village and let Obito try. "Did you see the second Hokage in the Hokage building?" "Yes, he entered the Hokage's office. In order not to be discovered by them, I came to inform you immediately. With your ability, even if you lurk in the office, they shouldn't be able to find you, right?" Obito knew Black Zetsu's ability, so he was a little surprised why Black Zetsu didn't lurk in the office to see what these people were doing. What can Black Zetsu do? It is also very desperate. As long as it has the idea of entering the Hokage's office, it will have a strong sense of crisis that a disaster is coming and it will be killed as soon as it enters. Before rescuing his mother, he would not gamble his life. After all, the other party is the second Hokage. If he has the ability to sense me, wouldn't I be exposed? Black Zetsu didn't want Obito to know that he was afraid of this office. He could only bring up the second Hokage. Fortunately, Obito didn't know the detailed ability of the second Hokage, and he had nothing to refute Black Zetsu's words. "You are right. After all, the other party is the second Hokage. If you are exposed, it will not be good for us." Obito thought for a while and continued, "Let's do this. I will wait here. You go to other places and notify me if there is any news." Hearing that he didn't need to go to the Hokage's office, Black Zetsu secretly breathed a sigh of relief and immediately agreed to Obito's arrangement. Time passed slowly. 3 days later, Obito was very impatient. He and Black Zetsu almost turned Konoha upside down, but they didn't find the second Hokage Senju Tobirama. "Zay, do you have any opinion about me?" In a remote grove in Konoha, Obito looked at Black Zetsu with great dissatisfaction. "No, I have always been very satisfied with you. If that's the case, then why are you playing tricks on me? What are you kidding me about? Please speak clearly." Obito took a deep breath, pointed outside the woods and said, "It was you who said that the second Hokage Senju Tobirama reappeared in Konoha. That's why I hurriedly investigated with you. Do you recognize this? I think. Well, after 3 days of investigation, can you tell me where Senju Tobirama is?" This. At this time, Heiju was also confused. It clearly saw Senju Tobirama chatting and laughing with Jiraiya, but why did it disappear in the blink of an eye? Could it be that everything it saw at that time was an illusion? Well, it's impossible to hallucinate. As a yin-yang escape product of Otsutsuki Kagaya, Black Zetsu is naturally immune to all ninjutsu and genjutsu. If you want it to be enchanted by genjutsu, even Madara Samsara won't work, let alone Konoha today. Since it's not a genjutsu, then where did Senju Tobirama go? Seeing that Black Zetsu was silent and didn't speak, Obito couldn't help but make things more difficult. In his plan, Heiju is a very useful tool. The relationship between the two is tense, which will be detrimental to his future plans. Our time is very valuable, 3 days. We will continue to investigate for 3 more days. If we still don't find anything, then we will return to Yuin village. Obito gave him the steps, and Black Zetsu followed the steps. Are we going to ignore Konoha? Just continue to send some by Zetsu to keep an eye on it. We have lost 2 white Zetsu here in Konoha. Rest assured. Obito waved his hands indifferently and said, "The 2 white Zetsus last time possessed the 5th Hokage and Orochimaru. This time, let's find some Jonin to possess them. I don't believe that Konoha really has technology capable of detecting white Zetsu. The 5th generation Jiraiya Hokage, his identity is destined to have the highest security level. As a ninja who returned as a rebellious ninja, Orochimaru's security level must not be too low. Even if Konoha really had the technology to detect white Zetsu, the first thing to take care of would definitely be the village's senior officials and people like Orochimaru. As for Jounin, because there are so many people, they probably won't be able to take care of them. In addition, the Jonin is qualified to attend the Konoha conference, so choosing to possess the Jonin is a very good choice." 3 days later, Obito and Black Zetsu left Konoha and returned to Kumogakure. Then he sent 3 white Zetsu over and had them possess the Jonin of Konoha. They are, Hatake Kakashi, Sarutobi Asuma and Yuhi Kurenai. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a day's work, Kakashi Hatake returned home slightly tired. It's not because the task is too difficult, but because the task is too easy. It's so simple that he doesn't need to instruct the 3 little ones in class 7, he just needs to read quietly on the side. I have to say, Jiraiya-sama's writing is getting better and better. The characters are rich, the plot is fascinating, and the sense of immersion is really strong. He lay on the bed with his eyes closed for a while, and after a little relief from the fatigue caused by reading, he got up, stretched out, and prepared to cook. At this time, he saw the talisman paper called the White Jew Detection Talisman placed in the corner of the desk. He still remembered that a few days ago, the 5th Hokage, in front of many Jounin in Konoha, asked them to use one on him every day with a serious expression. The purpose is to avoid being possessed by a creature called Baiju. Seeing that the Hokage was so serious about what he said, the Jonin naturally did not dare to be vague and would use a talisman paper on themselves every day. A few days have passed, and so far no so-called white Zetsu has been found to be possessed among this group of Jounin. Well, it seems I haven't used it today. After muttering something in his mouth, Kakashi skillfully attached the talisman paper to his body and prepared to cook as usual. Just when he was about to go to the kitchen, something white gradually began to appear on the surface of his body. Is this Baiju? Kakashi didn't panic, he just stood there with a serious expression, quietly waiting for Baizetsu to come out of his body. Not long after, when the entire Baizetsu came out of his body, Kakashi said nothing, punched and kicked Baizetsu to the ground, then took out a bundle of ropes from the cabinet and tied the man in front of him. The name is Baiju. I didn't expect that the famous Kakashi would like to play this kind of tune. You are really good and bad, but I like it too. Kakashi. Is there something wrong with this Baiju? What's wrong, Kakashi-san? Are you afraid of hurting me? Don't be afraid, the ruder you are, the more I like it. Come on, ravage me, don't pity me because I am a delicate flower, come on. Looking at Zetsu, who was lying on the ground and still posing, Kakashi helplessly held his forehead. He remembered that when the fifth Hokage warned them, he also said that the characters of these white Zetsus were very strange, so they should not make a fuss when they saw them. Kakashi admitted that Zetsu's character was indeed strange, so strange that even he couldn't bear it. What a crime! As the fifth generation Hokage of Konoha village, Jiraiya's living area is not very large and the decoration is not very luxurious. It was similar to the house that the fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato lived in. It was just an ordinary two-bedroom apartment. Taking advantage of the darkness, Jiraiya the fifth generation was preparing to go to a hot spring hotel that was open 24 hours a day to collect materials. Even if he has become the Hokage of Konoha, it cannot stop his determination to become a great writer. It's just an unlucky day. The third Hokage brought Sarutobi Asuma and Yuhi Kurenai to his residence. By the way, in their hands, they were also carrying two Baiju. Orochimaru will probably be very happy. The materials for the experiment have been added. Returning to his home, the fifth Jiraiya asked the three of them to sit down. It can be seen that his mood is not very beautiful. At this time, he just wanted to throw these two white Zetsu to Orochimaru so that he could go out and collect materials. Old man, did you ask anything? The third Hokage nodded upon hearing this and replied, they said they were ordered to come to Konoha to monitor us and prepare to investigate whether there are any suspicious people here. Suspicious person? Yes. This is a bit strange. Not only did the fifth generation Jiraiya find it strange, but even the third generation Hokage also found it strange. Is there any suspicious person in Konoha, and what's going on with Obito Uchiha? At the same time, they both felt that there was something seriously wrong with Obito Uchiha. You, the successor of Madara Uchiha and the mastermind behind the Nine Tails Rebellion, why do you care so much about Konoha village? You should also take care of the other four great ninja villages. Do you understand what it means to be touched by both rain and dew? Kirigakure, you can pull him down. Our Gada is almost ruined by this bastard, so don't come here. Old man, do you think there is a possibility that the person they are looking for is Lord Nidame? Don't say it, don't say it. It's possible, and it's not small. After seeing the inventory of characters on the light screen and knowing some things, the fifth generation Jiraiya and the third generation Hokage decided to keep a low profile as much as possible while maintaining the original condition. The battle of ninja is an intelligence battle. As long as they know the information about the enemies in the village, they will have a greater advantage in the battle. Nowadays, they only know Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan, Kamui's weaknesses, and the weaknesses of those in the Akatsuki organization, but they still don't know. Therefore, as long as the time drags on and the more light curtain videos are watched, their chances of winning will become higher and higher. Wait a minute, you two Hokage-samas, what are you talking about? What Nidame-sama? Why can't I understand? That what the fifth Jiraiya and the third Hokage said made Sarutobi Asuma and Yuhi Kurenai very concerned. After all, that was the second generation of the village, Senju Tobirama. As long as they are Konoha people, no one doesn't care. Old man, what's going on? Do you want to tell them? The third Hokage was speechless. If Jiraiya really didn't want Asuma and Kurenai to know about the Nidame, then he shouldn't have said that in front of these two people. As a result, as soon as he finished speaking, he kicked the ball to himself when faced with the two people's inquiries. If something happens in the future, will I be responsible for it? And it's none of his business. Even though he has retired, this guy is still blaming himself, really unworthy of a son of man. At this moment, the third Hokage inexplicably missed Danzo. They will know sooner or later, so why not take this opportunity to tell them? Okay, old man, just take them back and talk to them carefully. I will send these two white Zetsu to Orochimaru. Can. Sarutobi Asuma is the son of the third Hokage, and Yuhi Kurenai is also his future daughter-in-law. Neither of them are outsiders, telling them in advance can also increase their vigilance. Hey Kakashi, are you possessed by white Zetsu too? The fifth Jiraiya carried 2 white Zetsus and the third Hokage and the others went out together, and happened to see Kakashi and the white Zetsus tied into rice dumplings in his hands. Sandem-sama, 5th Hokage-sama, what are you doing? The 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage looked at each other in tacit understanding, and after a while of winking, they had the following exchange: Jiraiya, white Zetsu has set his sights on Kakashi, why don't you tell him about Obito? The 3rd Hokage, yes, I have no objection, Jiraiya, then I'll leave it to you. I'll give Orochimaru the white Zetsu, the 3rd Hokage, you just want to be lazy, Jiraiya, oh, you saw it, the 3rd Hokage, get out of here. Jiraiya, okay. Chapter 99 The 3rd Hokage, the murderer is Obito Uchiha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai, follow me. Through eye contact, the 5th generation Jiraiya was responsible for delivering experimental materials to Orochimaru, and the 3rd generation Hokage was responsible for explaining the light curtain to these 3 people. The 4 of them arrived at the Hokage's office in silence. The 3rd Hokage pointed to the chair in the corner and said, you can just grab a chair, sit down and talk. The 3 of them followed suit, randomly selected a chair and moved it to the desk, looking at the 3rd Hokage with keen interest. What should I say? The 3rd Hokage puffed on his pipe, pondered for a moment, and then said, do you know that after the Chunin exams, Jiraiya and Orochimaru, I have to go out at 8 o'clock every half-month. Gathering in the office? I heard something from Naruto. Kakashi nodded and took over the conversation. It was said that some magical light curtain would appear in the Hokage's office. The people in the light curtain talked funny and pleasantly. Naruto said that I really like looking at the light curtain. Sandem-sama, could this be the light curtain you are telling us about? Yes, this light curtain appears once every half-month, and each time it appears at 8 o'clock in the evening. The content inside the light curtain is mainly divided into taking stock of the daily lives of the characters in our ninja world and the narrator, with half it will be played in rotation for a period of months. The 3rd Hokage didn't know what video up was. According to his understanding, there seemed to be nothing wrong with treating Lin Tian as the video commentator. Taking stock of characters in the ninja world. What does this mean? Looking at Asuma who couldn't hold his breath, the 3rd Hokage couldn't help but sigh. He spent a lot of effort on this son. In his early years, Asuma was very rebellious. He would do the opposite of whatever the 3rd Hokage did. He even went to the Land of Fire to work as a bodyguard for the daimyo, earning the title of Guardian of the 12 Ninjas. Although the 3rd Hokage was very disdainful of this title, fortunately, Asuma became less rebellious as he grew older. At this time, the 3rd Hokage was thinking of paving the way for Asuma, in order to strengthen his connections. The 3rd Hokage asked him to be a teacher for the new generation of Inaraka butterfly. Even so, he was still worried that the help of the 3 Inozukacho clans alone would not be enough, so he overcame everyone's objections and arranged for Kurenai Yuhi, who had just become a Jounin, to become the heir to the Hinata, Aburame, and Inuzuka clans. Teacher, logically speaking, with Yuhi Kurenai's qualifications, it is impossible to become the teacher of Hinata, Shino, and Kiba, but who called her boyfriend Sarutobi Asuma. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought very well. In a few years, when these 6 students grow up, Asuma becomes stronger, completes more tasks, and has more qualifications, he will be able to successfully. The Hokage position was passed to him, with him, the longest-serving Hokage, and the support of the 6 major ninja clans. He didn't believe anyone would dare to oppose it. It's just that things didn't go as planned, and according to normal development, he finally died in the hands of Orochimaru, even if there is the intervention of the light screen and he is saved from death by the 2nd generation Hokage Senju Tobirama. Asuma's chance of becoming Hokage is not great. With the presence of Tobirama-sensei and the light curtain, if you want to become Hokage, your identity and background are no longer important. What matters is the quality and talent of the Hokage candidate himself. The 3rd Hokage knew very well that Asuma's qualities, including strength and vision, were not the best in their generation. At the very least, he is not as calm as Kurenai and Kakashi. With this alone, he couldn't pass Teacher Tobirama's test, not to mention that the light curtain will sooner or later count the generations of Hokage behind Konoha. If Asuma could become Hokage in the original history, maybe he still has a chance now, if not, then he really has no chance at all. Sighing secretly, the third Hokage looked at Asuma with a slightly complicated look and said, to put it simply, it is to roughly play out a person's life, plus a commentator named Tian. The narration allows us viewers to understand the person being reviewed more intuitively. After saying this, the third Hokage paused to give the three of them some time to digest. After a while, he fully understood what the third Hokage was saying about Kakashi, and asked with a solemn expression, Sandem-sama, is it possible for everyone in the ninja world to be counted? I am not sure as well. The third Hokage shook his head. He really didn't know if everyone could be counted, but he knew clearly that these inventory videos were chosen by the commentator named Tian. As for his criteria for selecting characters for inventory, the third Hokage was not clear. Then, Sandem-sama, can you tell us how many characters the light screen has counted so far? Who are these characters? Of course I can tell you this. Currently, light screen has counted 6 people. They are the first Hokage, the second Hokage, the third Hokage, the fourth Hokage, Danzo Shimura and Danzo Kato. They are all people from our village. Yes. Not to mention the 4 Hokages, Danzo Shimura was also a high-ranking member of Konoha before he defected. Kakashi didn't know much about Kato Dan, but he also knew that he was the lover of Tsunade, one of the 3 ninjas. In the 6-issue character inventory, they are all from Konoha. Is this a coincidence? Or is it that the light screen only counts people in Konoha? Kakashi asked the question that came to his mind, and as expected, he heard the words I don't know. By the way, did Danzo defect just because the light curtain took stock of him and exposed all the evil things he had done? That the third Hokage looked at her with approval and said in his heart, she is indeed our daughter-in-law, her brain works very fast. Yes, the light screen not only exposed what Danzo had done before, but also what he would do in the future. After? That's right, after that. Can the light curtain predict the future? You can also understand it this way, but this future is a future that develops according to normal conditions without the appearance of the light curtain. After hearing what the third Hokage said, the 3 of them all understood. Because of the emergence of the light curtain, the established future has been changed, so the future shown on the light curtain can only be used as a reference, and this future cannot be superstitious. Alright, you guys generally know about the light curtain. In a few days, a Tian's extra video will be released. You can watch it together. Yes, Sandem-sama. All 3 Kakashi agreed. Seeing that the matter was finished, the 3 of them wanted to leave. However, the third Hokage did not let them go, but continued, then I will tell you some things I learned through the light screen. Asuma said, for example. For example, I already know who the murderer was who started the Nine-Tails Rebellion and killed the 4th Hokage and his wife. Sandem-sama, please inform me. Kakashi clenched his fists and looked very excited. It is not difficult to see that he very much wants to avenge the Watergates. The third Hokage stared into Kakashi's eyes and spoke a name indifferently. Obito Uchiha. What? Kakashi and the other 3 were shocked when they heard the name, especially Kakashi. He never thought that the murderer who did these things was Obito. Chapter 100 Kakashi's True Appearance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Asuma Sarutobi glanced at Kakashi, who was so surprised that he couldn't speak. He knew about Kakashi and Obito. He also knew how confused and helpless Kakashi was now. His best friend started the Nine-Tails Rebellion and killed his teacher and his wife. Is this something a normal person can do? That is, Kakashi has experienced a lot of things and has been hit many times, so he has developed resistance. If it were an ordinary person, he would have fainted. Seeing that Kakashi was trembling and unable to speak, Asuma sighed and asked for him. Old man, are you confused? Didn't Uchiha Obito die a long time ago? How could he be the mastermind behind the Nine-Tails Rebellion? Uchiha Obito is not dead. The third Hokage pressed his hands down and motioned the 3 to sit down and talk. When the 3 of them sat down again, he continued, when Obito was buried in the rocks, you thought he was dead, but he was saved by Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara? It was Asuma and Yuhi Kurenai's turn to be surprised. Are you sure you are not senile? What does this have to do with Uchiha Madara? Don't tell me that Uchiha Madara, who fought with the first Hokage, did not die. Asuma, you bastard, show some respect. The third Hokage patted Asuma's head with a little dissatisfaction. At home, he can call himself whatever he wants, but outside, in front of Kakashi, an outsider, can't he give himself some face? The truth is just as you said, Uchiha Madara is not dead. He used the Uchiha family's ultimate eye technique, Izanagi, deceived the first Hokage, and has been staying somewhere in the ninja world. What about now? Is Uchiha Madara still alive? He should be dead now. Dead? Fortunately, I don't want to face such a terrifying enemy in the future. Asuma patted his chest with lingering fear to calm down. Turning around, seeing Hong also had a terrified expression, he immediately wanted to help her calm down. Forget it, it's not convenient with outsiders present. Let's continue with our previous topic. After Obito was rescued by Madara, he became Madara's spokesperson. According to White Zetsu, there is a dark-skinned black Zetsu who claims to be Uchiha Madara's will to help Obito. At the same time, they are secretly carrying out some plan. After taking a puff of cigarette, the third Hokage continued, we don't know what their plan is. It can't be for the peace of the ninja world, right? Anyway, I'm here to remind you that if you see a person wearing a black robe with red clouds and an orange vortex mask on his face, he is Uchiha Obito. So, do we need to arrest Uchiha Obito? That what the third Hokage said was incredible, but Kakashi did not question it, because he knew that the third Hokage would never lie about such things, he could only accept this reality painfully. No, based on your strength, even if you really meet him, you probably can't beat him. Old man, it's not possible, is Obito so strong now? That the third Hokage glanced at Asuma and said, don't forget how Obito started the Ninetales rebellion. Hearing this, the three said in unison, Mangekyo Sharingan. Yes, Obito has awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, and his Mangekyo ability is very tricky. At this point, the third Hokage looked at Kakashi again and said, your Sharingan was given by Obito. Logically, he has already awakened the Mangekyo. It doesn't make sense that you only have 3 Magatama. In fact, I have also noticed the awakening of the Mangekyo, but I don't know how to turn on. Then work hard. If you have a chance, I will introduce you to know it. Maybe he can help you officially turn on the kaleidoscope to right the wheel. Suspicious, the mirror I said was the mirror of 40 years ago. 40 years ago? Yes. When he would come, Asuma was suddenly excited again. He, you should be younger than me 40 years ago, right? The third Hokage narrowed his eyes and asked sinisterly, So. We will talk about our own things from now on. I call you dad and he calls me brother. Hearing this, Kakashi no longer cared about the sadness and pain. Turning his head, he looked at Asuma in shock. If his emotions were not a little wrong, he really wanted to give Asuma a thumbs up. You are really a tiger, even if you have this idea, don't say it in front of the third Hokage. Do you really think that the third Hokage is old and can't fight anymore? Thinking of this, Kakashi and Yuhi Kurenai stood up silently and stepped back a little to avoid splattering themselves with blood. The third Hokage laughed angrily, pointed at Asuma and said, today I will let you understand that you, my father, will always be your father. After saying that, the third Hokage ignored Kakashi and Yuhi Kurenai and gave an education on love on the spot. Ah. No, old man. I was wrong, don't slap me in the face. Don't hit the waist. If it gets damaged, won't Hong be left a widow? Hearing this, Yuri Hong wanted to join in. What do you mean she has to be a widow? She's not married to Asuma yet. It's really bad. At worst, she will find another one. 3-legged toads are hard to find, but 2-legged men are plentiful. I saw Yuhi Kurenai walking up to Kakashi and whispering, Kakashi, how about we? Asuma, who was frantically avoiding the love education of the third Hokage, happened to hear these words. thinking of what he just said nonsense about being a widow, Asuma immediately became anxious. Hong, you can't leave me. Hong, I can't live without you. Hong, how can I live without you? After wailing at Kurenai, Asuma pointed his conflict at Kakashi. Hey Kakashi, haven't you heard that you shouldn't bully your friends' wives? That's good for you. You're my friend's wife, so you're welcome, right? Just wait for me, wait until I finish dealing with the old man, and see how I deal with you. Hearing this, Kakashi didn't say anything, he just felt that he had suffered an unreasonable disaster. The third Hokage was even more angry. Ha ha ha, good boy, deal with me, right? I'll let you deal with it. Look at my move, the two dragons go out to sea, the whip of love. The third Hokage flew his hands together, concentrated chakra and slapped Asuma hard on the buttocks. Asuma fled from holding his head to lying on the ground holding his butt, twisting like a maggot. That scene was quite eye-catching. Yuhi Hong sighed helplessly and said to Asuma on the ground, "You really think too much. I just asked Kaka if you want to leave here together. It's not as exaggerated as you said. I don't believe it. Kakashi is so handsome. What if you were seduced by him? It's not like you don't know. When I met Kakashi, he always wore a mask. Who knows if he has buck teeth or not? Kakashi? Yeah, I don't think I've seen Kakashi's true appearance. He might also have a pockmarked face. Yes, I don't know if it's a sausage mouth. I think it's still possible. Kakashi, that's enough for you." Chapter 100 Sprinkle Flowers.